Have you ever felt hurt, wronged, or even as if you were a victim of someone's actions who seemed to want to destroy everything you built? Maybe you have wondered why God allows these things to happen. But today, I will show you something you may have never heard before. There is a divine justice that acts silently but relentlessly, and the truth will always come out. If you've experienced something similar, this video is for you. Because throughout this conversation, you will understand what God has reserved to protect His chosen ones, and what happens to those who dare to touch them. And believe me, what I am about to reveal can change the way you see your life and purpose forever. Stay with me until the end, because this truth cannot be ignored. Maybe you have felt that life has placed a heavier burden on your shoulders, facing situations where you were misunderstood, wronged, or even attacked for no reason. Maybe you have asked yourself, why does this happen to me? But what if I told you that these challenges are not coincidences? They are proof of something greater happening in your life. People who carry a special purpose, like you, tend to attract attention, criticism, and even envy because there is something about you that cannot be ignored. If you have ever felt that your struggle was greater than seemed fair, know that this may be a sign that you are a chosen one. And what we're going to talk about today will make you see everything in a completely new way. In this video, you will discover exactly what happens to those who dare to touch a chosen one. We will explore how this divine protection manifests, the inevitable consequences for aggressors, and how this reinforces the mission of those who are called. And stay tuned, because the final revelation will open your eyes to a level of understanding that can transform your view of the challenges you face. If you have ever wondered why certain people pay such a high price for their actions against you, the answers are here. If you want to deeply understand how this divine protection operates, what it means for your life, and the price someone pays for trying to interfere with the purpose of a chosen one, you are in the right place. Stay with me until the end, because the truths I will share here have the power not only to bring clarity, but also to strengthen you to face any battle. And know this, missing this message means losing a key piece that can change the way you see your spiritual journey. Being a chosen one is not just a title or an abstract idea, it is a mission. Chosen ones carry within them a special light, a divine calling that sets them apart and places them on a path of purpose. However, this journey is not easy. Because of their importance in the spiritual plan, chosen ones frequently face attacks, challenges, and persecutions, often in ways that seem unfair. But here is the truth that few understand: God never abandons His own. He places an invisible but absolutely powerful protection around those He has chosen. This protection may not be immediately perceived, but it acts relentlessly and always in favor of divine balance. And in the end, divine justice never fails. Chosen ones have a fundamental role in the spiritual order established by God. They are more than ordinary individuals. They are pillars of balance between good and evil, agents of light in a world often shrouded in darkness. Chosen ones carry with them a divine mission that transcends their own lives, acting as channels of transformation and hope for everyone around them. Their actions and choices often serve as catalysts for deep spiritual changes, both in their communities and on a larger scale. Chosen ones are marked by unique characteristics that distinguish them. They possess a deep connection with the spiritual, often experiencing intuitions, signs, and dreams that seem to guide them towards something greater. They are resilient, facing adversities that would crush many, but for them, serve as opportunities for growth. The divine purpose of the chosen ones is evident in their ability to overcome obstacles that, for others, would seem insurmountable. This resilience is not merely human. It is fueled by a spiritual force that gives them courage and determination. Contrary to what many think, the chosen ones are not privileged for their own satisfaction or glory. They were chosen to serve. Their lives are directed towards specific missions aimed at benefiting humanity. Whether bringing peace, inspiration, healing, or wisdom, the chosen ones have an altruistic role. They act as instruments of God, ensuring that His will is done and that His love reaches even the darkest corners. This higher purpose often requires sacrifice, but the chosen ones accept it with faith, knowing that their actions are part of something much grander. Because of their mission and the impact they can have, the chosen ones often face immense challenges. These attacks are not only physical, but also spiritual. Opposing forces perceive the power and potential that a chosen one carries and therefore try to stop them in every possible way. The attacks can come from people, circumstances, or even spiritual forces that wish to prevent the fulfillment of their purposes. These challenges, however, are not signs of abandonment, but rather that they are on the right path. Even in the face of so many difficulties, the chosen ones are never alone. God offers special protection to those he calls. This protection may not be immediately visible, but it is always present. When opposing forces try to attack a chosen one, divine justice inevitably comes into action. There are countless biblical examples that illustrate this. Remember David facing Goliath or Daniel in the lion's den. In both cases, it seemed that all was lost, but God intervened in miraculous ways to protect his chosen ones. Divine punishment for those who dare to touch a chosen one is inevitable. The Bible makes it clear that touching a chosen one is like touching the apple of God's eye, Zechariah 2 verse 8. Those who rise against a chosen one face consequences, not only in the physical realm, but also in the spiritual. God not only protects his chosen ones, but also acts to correct those who try to thwart his plans. This punishment can come in various forms, always serving as a reminder that no one can oppose God without facing the consequences. A classic example is that of Pharaoh, who pursued Moses and the people of Israel. Despite all the power and authority he had, Pharaoh could not stop God's plan. The sea parted for the chosen ones to pass through, but closed over those who dared to pursue them. This story shows us that God not only protects, but also executes his justice against those who oppose his purpose. You may be watching this video and wondering, am I a chosen one? The answer may surprise you. If you face seemingly inexplicable difficulties, if you feel like the world is against you, this may be a sign that you have been chosen for something greater. God chooses those he knows are strong enough to endure trials and become a light in times of darkness. Often, the struggles you face are not a sign that God has abandoned you, but rather that he is shaping you. Difficulties are like a furnace where gold is purified. God is removing everything unnecessary, so you can shine with the light he has placed within you. Each challenge is an opportunity to get closer to the purpose he has prepared for your life. Chosen ones have a spiritual sensitivity that sets them apart. They perceive things others ignore, understand messages between the lines, and often feel the divine presence guiding their steps. This special connection is both a gift and a responsibility. Through it, chosen ones are called to act with wisdom, compassion, and unwavering faith. Although chosen ones often feel alone, it is important to remember that they are part of a larger spiritual community. There are others like you, facing similar challenges and seeking to fulfill their divine purposes. The strength of this community lies in shared faith and the certainty that God is working through each one. Attacks against chosen ones are not the end. On the contrary, they are an opportunity to grow in resilience. When you withstand challenges and remain steadfast in faith, you are becoming spiritually stronger. Each obstacle overcome is a testimony to God's power in your life and a reminder that you have been chosen by him. It is important to understand that divine justice may not be immediate, but it is certain. Those who rise against a chosen one may seem victorious for a moment, but God always acts at the right time. He ensures that his plans are fulfilled, and that those who caused harm face the consequences of their actions. If you believe you may be a chosen one, this is the time to reflect on your life and purpose. Think about the struggles you have faced and the strength you found to overcome them. This is not a coincidence. It is a sign that God is working in your life, preparing you for something extraordinary. Divine justice is a universal principle that goes beyond the idea of punishment or revenge. It is a mechanism for rebalancing energies in the universe, ensuring that every action has a proportional consequence according to spiritual laws. When we talk about the chosen ones, we refer to people who have a special connection with the spiritual plane and a divine mission on earth. Harming a chosen one is like trying to go against the natural flow of the universe's energies. In this context, divine justice acts as a corrective force, restoring the harmony that was destabilized. Many times, divine justice is confused with the idea of revenge, but this interpretation is limited and carries a human bias. While revenge is driven by emotions such as anger and resentment, divine justice operates with impartiality, following universal laws that promote learning and spiritual growth. Those who dare to touch a chosen one, whether through injustices, persecutions, or actions of bad faith, inevitably face the consequences of their actions. Not because God wants to punish them, but because their actions misalign energies and create a natural reaction in the universe. Chosen ones are people designated to play fundamental roles in the spiritual evolution of humanity. They are individuals who carry light, wisdom, and purpose, often misunderstood or attacked precisely because of their uniqueness. When someone interferes with the purpose of a chosen one, they are actually interfering with God's greater plan. Divine justice comes into action to protect this mission and ensure that the chosen one can continue fulfilling their role without being hindered by external forces. A classic example of how divine justice operates is the story of Pharaoh in Exodus. He tried to enslave and prevent the Israelites, God's chosen people, from reaching their freedom and fulfilling their spiritual journey. Despite all the warnings and signs sent through Moses, Pharaoh remained obstinate, and the consequences were severe. The 10 plagues that befell Egypt were a clear demonstration of how interference in the divine plan results in inevitable disasters, not as revenge, but as a direct response to resistance against spiritual laws. Another notable example is that of Haman in the book of Esther. He planned to destroy the Jewish people and hang Mordecai, a chosen one. However, his own actions resulted in his downfall, and he ended up being hanged on the very gallows he had prepared for Mordecai. This story illustrates the law of return. Everything we do comes back to us amplified, especially when we try to harm those under divine protection. Divine justice can also be understood through universal laws, such as the law of cause and effect. This law states that every action generates an equivalent reaction. When someone acts against a chosen one, they trigger a series of events that will inevitably lead them to learning, even if it comes through suffering. It is not about arbitrary punishment, but a natural consequence of their own choices, aimed at teaching them respect for the laws of the universe. Harming a chosen one is an act that creates an imbalance in spiritual energies, both on a personal and collective level. Divine justice works to restore this balance, returning negative energies to those who generated them. It is like a river diverted from its natural course. Sooner or later, the waters will find a way to return to their original flow, bringing with them the necessary lessons for those who tried to interfere. An interesting aspect of divine justice is that its consequences are not always immediate. Sometimes they may take years to manifest, but they always arrive at the right moment. This is because the universe operates in a time beyond our human comprehension. When the consequences finally manifest, they come with profound lessons that help the soul to evolve. Chosen ones are not alone on their journey. They have special spiritual protection that ensures that, even amid the greatest adversities, they are not destroyed. When someone tries to harm a chosen one, this divine protection is activated, and spiritual forces work to neutralize threats and transform negative energies into learning. This protection is a reminder that the purpose of a chosen one is above any opposing force. Those who dare to touch a chosen one often underestimate the depth of the spiritual consequences they face. Divine justice manifests in various forms, depending on the intensity of the action and the person's resistance to learning the necessary lessons. Emotional imbalances such as anxiety, guilt, constant fear, and even depression are common manifestations. This happens because, by attacking a chosen one, the aggressor breaks their natural connection with the energy of harmony and peace, creating an internal state of chaos that accompanies them until the energy is balanced again. Another recurring effect of divine justice is financial loss. When someone tries to harm a chosen one, they generate negative energy that affects all areas of their life. This negativity often reflects in the material life, with failed businesses, unexpected debts, or difficulties in prospering. Divine justice uses these losses as a call for the aggressor to reflect on their actions and seek spiritual alignment, showing that the forces of the universe cannot be manipulated with impunity. Isolation is another way divine justice manifests itself. The person who tries to harm a chosen one may begin to notice that people around them distance themselves. Friends, family members, and even colleagues can sense, even unconsciously, the unbalanced energy the person carries. This isolation is not a punishment, but an opportunity for the aggressor to turn inward and reflect on their actions, seeking reconnection with divine energy. The effects of divine justice are not limited to the emotional or material. The aggressor's physical health can also be affected. Sudden illnesses, unexplained pains, or a general decline in well-being are signs that the spiritual imbalance is manifesting in the body. This happens because the physical body is a reflection of the spiritual state, and when the soul is in disharmony, the body often suffers the consequences. One of the deepest manifestations of divine justice is the feeling that life is falling apart. The aggressor may feel as if they are being pursued by a series of negative events, as if everything is out of their control. This feeling is a direct reflection of the energy imbalance they created by trying to harm a chosen one. It is a way for the universe to show that until they correct their actions, they will remain trapped in a cycle of chaos. Although the effects of divine justice may seem severe, they have a clear purpose: to promote spiritual learning. When the aggressor finally recognizes their mistakes and seeks redemption, the consequences begin to dissipate. This process of awareness can be painful, but it is necessary for the person to understand the impact of their actions and choose to live according to the universal laws of love and respect. Now think about your own life. Have there been situations where you noticed that people who wronged you faced unexpected consequences? Perhaps you witnessed someone who tried to bring you down go through emotional, material, or spiritual difficulties. These moments are not coincidences, but examples of divine justice working to rebalance energies. Reflect on these experiences and recognize how the universe always works to protect the chosen ones. It is important to understand that the effects of divine justice are not driven by malice, but by a desire for restoration. Just as a doctor may need to apply a painful treatment to heal a wound, the universe uses these challenges to teach and correct. Even the aggressor, no matter how harmful they have been, is a soul in evolution, and divine justice is an invitation for them to change their ways and grow spiritually. As a chosen one, you may be tempted to hold a grudge against those who wronged you. However, it is essential to remember that forgiving is not absolving the other's actions, but freeing yourself from the emotional burden. When you forgive, you allow divine justice to operate fully, without interference from negative feelings. Forgiving is trusting in the divine plan and the certainty that everything is being resolved according to universal laws. Divine justice is a powerful and impartial force that always works in favor of universal harmony. As a chosen one, trust that those who try to harm you will face the consequences of their actions. But more than that, see these moments as opportunities for growth for all involved. Be grateful for the divine protection that accompanies you, and use these experiences as reminders that you are on the right path. But here's an intriguing question. What really happens to those who dare to challenge this universal harmony by touching a chosen one? There is something in divine punishment that goes beyond what is visible, a spiritual reaction so intense that it completely transforms the life of those who commit such audacity. There is a hidden detail in this process, a divine mechanism that few understand, and I will share this with you. But first, let's take an important step in your spiritual journey and explore how you, as a chosen one, can activate and intensify this protection. It is not just about avoiding spiritual attacks, but living with confidence, knowing that you are fully protected by God's power. Let's understand how to recognize your identity and use essential spiritual tools for this mission. The first and most powerful step to strengthening your spiritual protection is to recognize who you are. It is not just about believing, but wholeheartedly accepting that you were chosen by God to fulfill a greater purpose. Many live their lives without even realizing how special they are, allowing doubts, fears, and external voices to extinguish their light. Being a chosen one is not just a title, it is a divine responsibility. When you recognize your identity, something incredible happens. You begin to access a spiritual protection reserved only for those in tune with their mission. This acceptance strengthens your spirit, allowing you to face challenges and overcome the forces that try to bring you down. Accepting your identity as a chosen one is like activating an invisible shield around you. This shield not only protects you from spiritual attacks, but also strengthens your connection with God. After all, how can you expect to use spiritual tools if you still do not believe in who you are? Recognizing your identity allows you to access a deeper level of wisdom and discernment. This awareness helps you identify traps and avoid situations that could lead you astray. The enemy fears those who know who they are because they are anchored in something he cannot break, unwavering faith in the divine purpose. Prayer is one of the most powerful spiritual tools a chosen one can use. It is not just a moment to ask for help, but an opportunity to connect directly with the Creator. When you pray, you are aligning your energy with God's will, allowing Him to work in your life in ways you cannot imagine. Prayer is like a sacred dialogue that strengthens your faith and reminds you that you are never alone. Additionally, praying regularly creates a spiritual barrier that repels negative energies and keeps your mind and heart focused on the greater good. Another essential practice to strengthen your spiritual protection is meditation. While prayer is the time to talk to God, meditation is the chance to listen to His voice. Many chosen ones live amidst so much noise that they cannot perceive the messages whispered by the Holy Spirit. By meditating, you create a space of inner silence, allowing your intuition to flourish and divine answers to reach you. Meditation also helps clear your mind of worries and anxieties, paving the way for you to receive the strength needed to face daily challenges. Sacred scriptures are like maps that guide the chosen ones on their journey. They contain ancestral wisdom and timeless messages that strengthen the soul and protect against spiritual deception. By reading the scriptures, you not only fill yourself with knowledge, but also activate divine promises in your life. Each verse is a powerful tool that can be used as a weapon against the forces of evil. Additionally, the scriptures constantly remind you that you are under God's protection and that no evil can prevail against you. Nature is a divine gift that is often underestimated. Spending time outdoors among trees, rivers, and mountains can be deeply restorative for a chosen one. Nature carries God's creative energy, and by connecting with it, you reconnect with your essence. This practice helps purify your mind, renew your strength, and strengthen your spiritual protection. Moreover, nature offers a tranquil environment to pray, meditate, and reflect on the purpose God has placed in your life. Words have power, and the chosen ones must learn to use them as spiritual weapons. Declaring spiritual truths about your life is a way to strengthen your protection. Say out loud, "I am protected by God. No weapon formed against me shall prosper." These declarations are not just words, but spiritual decrees that create a barrier against negative energies. When you affirm your faith and trust in God, you are declaring to the spiritual world that you know who you are and that nothing can stop you. Strengthening your spiritual protection is not something that happens overnight. It is a continuous process that requires discipline and commitment. Set aside time every day for your spiritual practices, whether it is praying, meditating, or reading the scriptures. The more you dedicate yourself to these practices, the stronger your connection with God becomes and the greater your protection. Spiritual discipline is like training your soul to face and win battles. Just as it is important to strengthen your spiritual protection, it is also essential to avoid sources of negative energy. This includes toxic environments, harmful relationships, and destructive habits. Chosen ones must be careful with the influences they allow in their lives. By distancing yourself from these sources, you protect your energy and keep your connection with God pure and strong. When you recognize your identity as a chosen one and use the right spiritual tools, something extraordinary happens. Your life begins to reflect the peace, strength, and purpose that come from God. You not only feel protected, but also empowered to face any challenge. Divine punishment for those who dare to touch you is not your concern, because your trust is in God's justice. Your role is to remain faithful, committed, and strong, knowing that divine protection is always with you. When you are attacked or wronged, the most instinctive reaction may be to seek revenge or retribution. However, as a chosen one, you must not descend to the level of those who try to hurt you. Divine justice is infallible and always prevails. God observes every action, every word, and every intention, and He ensures that no one goes unpunished for touching His chosen ones. When you trust in divine justice, you are demonstrating faith in God's plan and allowing Him to handle the situation justly and perfectly. Retaliating directly not only drains your energy, but can also divert you from your spiritual purpose. Remember, vengeance does not belong to you, but to God. When you hand over your battles to God, you are releasing a huge burden from your shoulders. Trusting in divine justice is an act of faith that allows you to move forward without carrying bitterness or resentment. Moreover, by avoiding direct retaliation, you prevent negative energies from multiplying in your life. The peace that comes from knowing God is in control is irreplaceable. Allow Him to be your defender, and you will see that nothing can withstand the strength of His hands. Your role is not to retaliate, but to remain firm in your faith and purpose. Spiritual protection begins within you. Faith is the foundation of a powerful shield that repels any negative energy or spiritual attack. When you nurture your faith daily, you are building an invisible but impenetrable barrier around you. Additionally, gratitude and actions aligned with the divine purpose are essential elements to strengthen this shield. Gratitude elevates your spiritual vibration, while actions based on love and truth connect you even more with God, creating an energy field that no evil force can penetrate. Practicing gratitude daily is a way to shield your spirit against negative influences. When you focus on the blessings you have already received, you are sending a powerful message to the universe and the spiritual world. I trust in God and His plan for me. Gratitude is not just a feeling. It is an energy that attracts more protection, abundance, and peace into your life. Choose to be thankful, even in difficult moments, as it strengthens your connection with God and increases your ability to face challenges with courage and serenity. Living according to the purpose God has placed in your life is one of the most powerful ways to create spiritual protection. Every time you act with love, integrity, and compassion, you are expanding your field of protection. These actions not only bring you closer to God, but also confuse spiritual enemies, who cannot operate in environments of light and truth. When you align with the divine purpose, you attract the constant presence of the Holy Spirit, who acts as a guardian by your side. Chosen ones who live in alignment with light and truth radiate an energy that repels everything contrary to good. This light cannot be extinguished by external forces, but needs to be constantly nurtured through faith, prayer, gratitude, and righteous actions. The more you stay on the path of truth, the more protected you will be against the enemy's attacks. Remember that the light you carry is your greatest weapon and your most impenetrable defense. Now, I invite you to take a pause and participate in a practical exercise that can transform your life. The words you declare have power, and by using them with faith, you can create an additional layer of spiritual protection. Repeat with me, I am protected by God. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. My life is aligned with the divine purpose, and no opposing force can divert me from the path that God has prepared for me. Feel each word, let it fill your heart and strengthen your faith. Besides affirmations, a daily prayer is a powerful way to attract divine protection. Here is a prayer you can repeat in your daily life. Lord, I thank you for always being by my side. I entrust all my battles to you, trusting that your justice is perfect and infallible. Protect me from all evil, strengthen my faith, and guide me in your path. May your light be my armor and your presence my refuge. Amen. Pray this prayer sincerely, and you will see how it strengthens your spiritual protection. Set aside a moment of your day to connect deeply with God. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and imagine a bright light descending from the sky and enveloping you completely. Feel this light as a cloak of divine protection that repels all negativity and fills you with peace. As you do this, declare, I am surrounded by God's light. No evil force can touch me. I am safe, protected, and guided. This simple exercise can be done at any time and will help reinforce your faith and protection. Spiritual practices such as prayers, affirmations, and meditation need to be constant. Just as you nourish your body every day, your soul also needs daily nourishment. Choose a specific moment to dedicate to your connection with God and be faithful to it. Consistency is what transforms these practices into powerful habits that strengthen your spiritual protection and keep you anchored in the divine purpose. Forgiving is not just a demonstration of love, but also a powerful tool of spiritual protection. Forgiveness cleanses your soul of grievances and prevents negative energies from taking root in your heart. When you forgive, you are declaring that you trust in divine justice and refuse to carry the weight of destructive feelings. Forgiveness frees you and creates space for God's peace to fill your life. Protecting your spirituality also means protecting your heart against negative influences. Be attentive to the words you hear, the people you relate to, and the situations you get involved in. Chosen ones need to be vigilant, as their light attracts both good and those who wish to extinguish it. By taking care of your heart, you are protecting the essence of what God has placed within you. By avoiding retaliation, building a spiritual shield, and incorporating daily practices of connecting with God, you are strengthening your spiritual protection in extraordinary ways. Do not forget that God is always by your side, but it is up to you to remain firm in faith and in your mission. We have reached the most anticipated moment of this video. This is where everything makes sense, and you will finally understand what divine punishment is reserved for those who dare to touch a chosen one. This revelation is not just a mystical concept. It is deeply rooted in the spiritual laws that govern the universe, laws that no one can ignore or escape. You, chosen one, are protected by a force that goes beyond the visible, beyond the comprehensible, and this protection brings inevitable consequences for those who try to harm you. Divine punishment is not just a random punishment. It is a direct response to the attempt to violate the spiritual laws surrounding the chosen ones. When someone attacks a chosen one, whether physically, emotionally, or spiritually, that attack does not fall into the void. Spiritual energies automatically mobilize to restore balance, and this happens in ways that often elude human understanding. It is not just about divine revenge, but cosmic justice, the inevitable return of the actions someone decided to sow. divine punishment can manifest in critical areas of the lives of those who dare to touch a chosen one. It is not uncommon for these people to face inexplicable health problems, sudden illnesses, or pains that science cannot diagnose. In other cases, this justice manifests in the emotional area, drastic ruptures in relationships, family quarrels, or even an inner void that seems to have no solution. Financial and emotional stability is also shaken, as a constant reminder that no one comes out unscathed when attacking a chosen one. Although many think that divine punishment must be something visible, like a disaster or a physical problem, the truth is that it operates multidimensionally. Sometimes the greatest punishment for someone is to lose peace, direction, or even the connections that gave meaning to life. These impacts can be even deeper and more painful because they reach the core of a person's existence, showing that true punishment does not need to be visible to be devastating. What makes divine punishment so powerful is that it is directly connected to the spiritual laws that govern the universe. These laws are immutable, impartial, and inescapable. When someone tries to go against a chosen one, it is as if they were going against the very force of the universe. Divine justice acts as an irresistible force that seeks to restore spiritual balance and protect those who have a greater purpose to fulfill. You, chosen one, carry a protection that cannot be penetrated by malice or envy. This protection is guaranteed by your direct connection with God and the purpose He has entrusted to you. When someone tries to harm you, it is as if they are touching the very divine plan, and this triggers immediate consequences. God not only observes but acts in favor of His chosen ones, showing that no one is abandoned. People who try to harm a chosen one often underestimate the power of spiritual return. They do not understand that, by acting with malice, they are planting toxic seeds that will inevitably germinate in their lives. This harvest may come unexpectedly, but it is always just. The consequences hit the offender in a way that is proportional to their intention, reaffirming that spiritual laws are just and inviolable. For those who witness these events, divine punishment is also a powerful reminder that no one can escape spiritual justice. It is a call to reflect on our own actions and intentions. How we treat others, especially those who carry a divine purpose, defines the type of energy we attract into our lives. Honoring the chosen ones is, ultimately, honoring the very universe and its laws. Chosen one, your mission is not to retaliate, but to trust. Many times, you will be tempted to fight with your own strength, but God calls you to rest in the certainty that He is in control. Divine punishment is not something you need to wish for or seek. It happens naturally because divine protection is perfect and unfailing. Your role is to continue walking in faith, knowing that no one can interrupt the plan that God has for your life. For those who dare to touch a chosen one, the warning is clear. The price to pay is high, and no one can avoid it. Chosen one, remember that you are loved, protected, and guided. Divine punishment is not about revenge, but about justice, balance, and reaffirming that God takes care of those who serve Him. And for those watching, let this message be a reminder. Respecting a chosen one is respecting the spiritual laws that keep the universe in harmony. A classic example is that of Joseph in the Old Testament. Sold into slavery by his own brothers, he was humiliated and betrayed, but God turned his pain into purpose. Those who wronged him faced famine and difficulties, while Joseph was elevated to a position of authority in Egypt, showing that no one can stop God's plan for a chosen one. If there is one thing every chosen one must learn, it is to trust in the divine plan. Life often presents challenges that seem insurmountable, but these obstacles are opportunities to demonstrate faith. It is not uncommon for chosen ones to face envy, persecution, or isolation, but it is precisely in these moments that divine protection manifests itself most evidently. The true strength of a chosen one lies in not fearing challenges. Temporary suffering is a process that strengthens and prepares for the fulfillment of a greater purpose. God did not choose you to be defeated, but to win, and His presence is constant in your journey, even when everything seems difficult. Chosen one, if you have reached this point, this message is for you. You are not alone. There is a greater purpose over your life, and this purpose is unshakable, regardless of adversity. Those who try to harm you may cause moments of pain, but they will never have the final word, because the one who is with you is God, the Almighty, and He never fails. Nothing can destroy you. When you doubt, remember this truth. Greater is He who is in me than he who is in the world. This is God's promise over your life, and no force, attack, or conspiracy can nullify it. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced a situation where you felt God's hand protecting or delivering justice for you? Share your story in the comments. And to seal this connection of faith, leave the word divine protection in the comments. Let's build together a community of chosen ones strengthened by truth and God's presence. Thank you for staying with me until now. If this content resonated in your heart, follow the channel, like, and share this video with those who may also identify with it. Discover why you, a chosen one, are no longer human. Watch the next video and discover this power now.